This week's Parsha, Parshas Kedoshim, tells that the Jewish people are supposed to be kadosh like Hashem is holy. So therefore the Parsha opens that Hashem says that the people should be holy because I, Hashem your God, am kadosh, I am holy. And the obvious question is that it makes sense that God is holy because typically we understand holiness to mean being non-physical and being able to rise above physical temptations and desires. Obviously, God would be holy. God is not possessing physical desires and properties. So why is it logical that we human beings should be holy because God is holy if, so to speak, holiness comes naturally to God and is a very, very big test for human beings to be able to achieve that kind of behavior, that which is holy. In addition, the rabbis tell us that this parsha of Kedoshim contains most of the foundational principles of the Torah, and that's why Moshe made sure that all the Jews were gathered together to hear all of these main foundational principles of the Torah. So the question is, why is the headline idea for the main principles of the Torah this concept of Kedoshim, that we should be holy like God is holy? How does that serve as the proper introduction and backdrop for all of the observances of these main rules and ideas of the Torah? So I'd like to suggest that contrary to what many people in the self-help world believe, that a person should focus on themselves as a means of gaining spiritual elevation, whether it's self-value, self-worth, and kind of meditate over a person's greatness and achieve some sort of a Zen, spiritual, removed from this world type experience. What the Torah is telling us is almost the exact opposite. When we speak of the holiness of God, what the Torah is really telling us is that despite the fact that God needs nothing, God is completely independent and lacks nothing, nonetheless, God chose to create the world. God chose to create human beings with whom he would interact and have a relationship and write a book of instructions called the Torah. That's because the true definition of holiness, that God is holy, is to be other-centered, is to be able to not only focus on self, but instead to use whatever self a person has to promote the existence of other selves, of other human beings. And that's the unique aspect of holiness of Hashem. And that's amazing that Hashem did that, because if anybody shouldn't be required to do that, it would be the one being that needs no other being, i.e. God. And so therefore the Torah is emphasizing that just like God chose to be other-centered, we human beings need to be like him. And all the main principles of the Torah are built on this idea, that the mission and the focus of the Torah is to help us human beings learn how to not be self-centered, but to be other-centered. And of course, a person needs to have enough awareness and care of self so that he can be able, or that she can be able to help other human beings. But that has to be the mission, and the goal is to promote the existence of others. And it's amazing how holy a person will feel by actually taking the time to pay attention to those that are around him, especially to those that need help, and to those that one is able to promote and give them, meaning give the others, their own sense of importance and self-esteem, which is why many laws in this week's parsha are focused on the other, whether it's the gifts to the poor, or as Rabbi Akiva says, "Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha." That's the main principle of the Torah. Love your friend like you love yourself. Of course you need to love yourself, but the goal is to use that to love your friend. And that's why here the Torah begins right after the sentence of "Be holy like Hashem" with having awe for one's parents. Because even though parents, good parents, tend to love their children more than themselves and give them everything that they didn't have to the best of their ability, and try to give them all the good things in life that they can. The natural tendency is for a parent to do that, and for then a child to feel entitled and deserving of that love and all those bequests of goodness that the parents give them. And that, unfortunately, very often leads children to being self-centered and spoiled. And the Torah is telling us that the true way to combat entitlement and the feeling of being spoiled and ultimately narcissism is to recognize the good that everyone else gave to us, beginning with our parents. If we can have the proper awe of our parents, like we have awe of Hashem, recognizing that we have gratitude for all the things that they gave to us, we are training ourselves to not focus on us deserving everything that others give us, but instead to appreciate the fact that Hashem loves us, our parents loves us, and that we too will turn around and help others, love others, and promote their existence and be holy like Hashem.